Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Bootleggers, shills, desolates, sharks, peasants, vassals, presidents, ex-presidents. I'm a useful idiot, and apparently the American public and our government is also a useless idiot for our presidents, because we have an aristocracy in this country, and the presidents are a big part of that. And the White House is a pot of gold waiting to be milked. And the reason why I'm bringing all this up is a story came out recently that Al Gore now has a larger net worth than Mitt Romney. And the story in itself is not that interesting, but what it represents is very interesting. So what the story is that Al Gore sold his current TV network to Al Jazeera, fairly ironic in itself, for $500 million, which will net him $300 million. And so if he adds $300 million to his current net worth, that puts him considerably higher than Mitt Romney, who his stated wealth is $250 million. Although certainly all those figures are debatable. I would argue that Mitt Romney and Al Gore are probably worth considerably more than what they publicly admit. And things have been good for Al Gore. He's joined Apple's board of directors, and he started as an investment management firm, which of course was started with lots of investments in the alternative energy industry, which he's completely bailed on now. And he's lost a lot of money, but he still has a lot of net worth. And but my point being that life has been good to Al Gore since he was vice president, and life has been good to all our ex-presidents. So we know about all the congressmen, the revolving door back and forth from the government to the private sector, and they usually go to lucrative careers like Judd Gregg going to Goldman Sachs, and all these congressmen getting good lobbying jobs. But the presidential gravy train is particularly interesting because not only is it extremely lucrative, but it never ends. Because the second part of this story is all the presidential perks that we pay as taxpayers to ex-presidents. And you're going to be pretty surprised if you haven't heard these figures. So first of all, let me talk about the irony that Al Gore left the government, left his vice president position at the White House, and his net worth was between $780,000 and $1.9 million, which is pretty scrawny compared to a lot of these characters in Washington, D.C. So think about that. His net worth was maybe, let's say, $1 million. And yet here it is, lo this many years later, and Al Gore is now going to have a net worth of over $300 million. Not bad for his investment and time and government service and as the vice president. So what Al Gore did was he created a brand, and now his brand is very marketable to all interested parties and all the people he greases the wheels with, so that when he gets out of the government, he has a lot of easy money to be made. And the other part of this story is the fact that people like Bill Clinton also didn't have a very much of a net worth when he became president. And in fact, he even said, I quote, "I never had any money until I got out of the White House. I've done reasonably well since then," unquote. So yes, Bill Clinton has done considerably well, considering he probably only had a net worth of $1 million or so before he got into the White House. He has a net worth of $80 million now. In fact, Bill Clinton earned $41 million just in speaking fees in the first 6 years he left office. He got $12 million just for his memoirs. And what a surprise. He was paid up to $300,000 a speech for the likes of Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Deutsche Bank, Mortgage Bankers Association, Lehman Brothers, National Association of Realtors, because Bill Clinton was the deregulation king. And he wanted to basically corrupt the entire mortgage industry, and also he gave away the digital airwaves, which was public property and worth tens of millions of dollars. And so anyway, there's the Bill Clinton story. But it gets worse because it turns out we pay millions of dollars for ex-presidents. In fact, they have a total allowance of $3.6 million in 2012, and they're scheduled to get another $3.7 million in 2013. So think about that. The handful of living ex-presidents share a pie of roughly $3 to $4 million a year, and that's just the last 2 years. Think of how long people like George Bush Sr., Jimmy Carter, Nancy Reagan, and even Clinton have been out of office, and so they're splitting a kitty of $3 to $4 million a year for a couple of decades now. And this is all a result of what is known as the Former President's Act of 1958, and a taxpayer-sponsored annual allowance was created to go towards office expenses, staff, and travel. And this was a result of the fact that Harry Truman died pretty penniless. So he didn't want that to happen again. So to break down the expenses, it's pretty interesting. George W. Bush is going to get $1.3 million next year in 2013. He's going to get $60,000 for travel, $20,000 for postage, $26,000 for other, $85,000 in phone costs. Boy, he needs to get a new phone plan. $26,000 in printing costs, and $86,000 in unspecified office equipment. And so that's pretty nice. Not bad for being an ex-president. You get to have $85,000 in phone costs. That's double the median income of the United States, the total wages for an entire year for many Americans. And he gets that just to pay for his phone. So then Jimmy Carter gets $518,000 in 2013. Nancy Reagan's going to get $7,000 for postage in 2013. George Bush Sr. is going to get $879,000, but it looks like he's not going to get all of that, unfortunately. And Bill Clinton, he's going to get $1 million in 2013. $442,000 of it is just for office space. So that's $36,000 a month. So that's pretty good. Not bad for all these ex-presidents and our American aristocracy. So life is good. Using your name as a brand, as an ex-president, and you can basically operate in any sphere you want to. And now I'm getting to the important part. The important part is this shows that they all work for the same bosses. They are courting their future employers when they're in office. So they're not going to do what American citizens want. There's not going to be any kowtowing to populism. They have the same bosses. They are grooming themselves for their lucrative post-government careers. That's what it's all about. So they're going to cater to all their special interests. And Obama, just like all his predecessors, is going to be a master of that. I promise you that the Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, when they get out of office, they're going to make Clintons look like pikers. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.